Welcome, everyone, to the Blue Demon Room podcast. DePaul Athletics is so excited to bring you the stories of student athletes, coaches, and alumni. I'm your host, Casey Standahar, and I'm so thrilled to welcome our very next guest, DePaul men's basketball coach, Chris Holtmann. Coach, thank you for spending time with us today. I know you're a busy guy, but you made the time to sit in the Blue Demon Room.
Yeah, no, I'm excited about it, Casey. It's great to be with you. I'm excited about this whole endeavor, the podcast, and I think it's going to be great for our department and great for our athletics program.
Absolutely. We're thrilled to have you on today. And I know you've been kind of getting acclimated to Chicago. You've been here since March now.
Yeah.
And you attended your first Bears preseason game. We saw that on social media, correct? Was that your first game?
It was. Yeah, it was my first Bears game. I got the whole Bears experience. We walked through a tunnel on the way out. There was chants of Green Bay sucks in unison.
It's tradition. You have to do that.
I realized that, so I'm picking up on some of the traditions. It was a great experience. My wife and daughter and I, had a free Saturday, which you don't have. I don't have a lot of these coming up, so we said, hey, let's take advantage and go to a Bears game. It was a lot of fun.
Very cool. And you got to see a W, which is always good.
Yeah, we did. We did. And Caleb Williams, he's been phenomenal. So it's an exciting year for Chicago sports for sure.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. I'm not sure how closely you followed it, but we've been searching for our franchise QB. What do you think? Do the Bears have their guy, or is it too soon to tell?
Normally you'd say, hey, it's just the preseason. It's a little too early to tell. I think with this one, I think they have their guy. I think Chicago Bear fans are going to be so excited. He'll go through some normal challenges that go with rookies, but he's so good and he's so poised, and you see how he handles himself, not only on the field, but all the stuff that quarterbacks have to do. It's really, really impressive. So I became a college football fan really in the last 10 years.
Wow.
Back when I started my head coaching job at Gardner-Webb University in the South there, you really become a fan of college football, and then obviously through my time all the way through Ohio State. So followed his career. He's impressive.
Absolutely. You guys heard it here first. Coach Holtmann has endorsed Caleb Williams as the Bears QB. So let's talk about you. Enough about him. When you landed here on March 17th, you got right to work assembling a new team, speaking at press conferences, meeting a whole bunch of people. Tell me about those first few days on the job for you, if you could go back to that.
Yeah, as you know, Casey, it's a whirlwind couple months really. And when you're in a situation where there's going to be significant turnover, and in this case, the most significant, we have had a whole new team to recruit and a staff to hire. I had a jump start on hiring, which helped. I was able to add some guys that I had relationships with. Jack Owens, who was with me at Ohio State, as well as I got started with him, and Brian Mullins, who are both two phenomenal coaches. And then Tyler Hicks helped kind of with the day-to-day recruiting aspect, behind the scenes, all the legwork of recruiting, because we knew that was going to be important. So those three guys, really, we jumped in, and then we went to work. It was a lot of time in our hotel there at the Marriott, having meetings on how we wanted to structure our roster and who was available. We stayed out there, which was great because it's connected to Wintrust, and we were having visit after visit after visit. Mm-hmm. So it was great to be able to just meet in my hotel room as a staff as we were assembling our staff, and then go through the process of assembling a team.
What was it about Dwayne Peavy's vision that really aligned with your vision when you were making that decision to come here?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think it was a draw. It was a real his vision, his persistence. I think how motivated he was and is, and hungry he is to see this program become relevant in college basketball. I think President Rob's vision for what this program could be as well. I think that alignment's really important. And we had multiple conversations. We had a couple different Zooms. I was down in Florida, and I remember saying, "Hey, I think I just need one more Zoom here to kind of think, to have a few more questions." And he stayed on with me as long as really I needed to, and it was great. So he's been phenomenal, and I'm excited to work alongside him.
You're back in the Big East now. After Butler, after Ohio State, what were you taking with you from those roles into the DePaul Blue Demons role?
Well, I think a lot of things, really. Our family had a phenomenal experience at Butler, and we were there 3 years as the head coach, and 3 tournament experiences and a Sweet 16. We just had a great experience there. So a lot of affinity for the Big East. And our time there, the league's a little different now with the addition of UConn. It's as good as it's ever been. It was good back then. It's, I think, even better now. But I think the idea of being in a basketball-centric, focused conference had great appeal. I enjoyed 7 years in the Big Ten. That's a really well-run conference as well. But the appeal of being in the Big East and the appeal and the challenge of DePaul was exciting for me. I think you can look at it a couple of different ways. You can say, hey, this is a situation that because they've had struggles, stay away, or it can be attractive in the sense of, hey, what can we be together if we really commit to this in the challenge? And that's the way I really looked at it, and I believe that's the way our staff has looked at it.
I love that. What needs to happen at the end of this season? There's obviously a lot of weight, right? People are kind of counting on you and this team to try to begin to turn things around. So at the end of this season, what has to happen for you to consider it a success?
Well, I think as much as anything, we really want to stay committed to what it looks like to be the very best version of this team right now. In order to do that, we've got to be really good on a day-to-day focus. And as boring as that sounds, I think that really is important to be really focused on the day-to-day process with our current players and in recruiting as we rebuild this program. I think you'll see as we grow our program, you'll see a competitiveness on the floor. And you'll see an approach that I think people will say, yep, that's what we're looking for. That's exciting to us.
Sure.
That's going to be fun to watch.
They're going to notice that difference.
Yeah, they will. And, I believe that. I do think, listen, anytime you take over a situation, even today's climate, there's an element of patience required. And I do think, it's hard as coaches to be patient. It's hard as fans to be patient. But I think we're going to build it the right way, and we're going to build it, as Dwayne said to me, brick by brick. And I think what I believe is when we do that, if we're really committed to that, really good things are going to happen.
It's been 20 years since DePaul has had an NCAA tournament appearance. So
I am aware.
I know people probably remind you of that a lot. Yes. What are you telling potential recruits to get them interested in being a Blue Demon?
Yeah, no, we had honest conversations, with our current team, and I think, we said, hey, this is kind of where our program's been. It's the longest tenured high major program to not play in the NCAA tournament, and you could, like I said, when I was evaluating the job, you can look at that one of two ways. That can be a deterrent, or it can be something that gets you excited about the challenge, and what bringing that vision and that dream to a reality would mean for our fans and for the Chicago community and for people who have long since followed DePaul basketball and loved DePaul basketball, to the former players, to the alumni of the university, to the people who just have become DePaul fans. I think it would mean such a great deal to them, and I think that's really attractive for us, and it's hugely motivating. When we go out as a staff and we go to these caravans, and I go and I speak to them, I see dads with their with their sons, their sons, and they're talking to me about coming to games and their experience coming to games. And they said, Coach, it was hard last year. And I said, no, I get it. But, Coach, we're so excited about what's going to happen in the coming years. And, that is hugely motivating. It's a tremendous motivating factor for us as a staff to really press forward and, reach our goals as quickly as we can.
Obviously, you're talking to a lot of fans, a lot of families. That's great. You've also spoken with former players that were a part of the DePaul Glory Days. What are those conversations like? Yeah,
they've been great. They've been great. We've had, a tremendous group of former players that I got on a Zoom with immediately after my press conference there in Wintrust. And, we talked about everything from NIL to the challenges of coaching in today's climate to the Big East to how we can partner together. And they were all phenomenal. And then we've had some cycle through here, our practice this summer. And we've had a couple of them as they've come by, speak and say some really powerful things to the team. One of our most recent pros, Max Struess, had some really phenomenal things to say to our group, kind of just impromptu. I put them on the spot. And, I love having that interaction with former players. We've got so many that we're really proud of. And I love having them back to talk to our guys.
Yeah, you're able to see outside this wall here all the pros that have came through DePaul on the men's and women's side. It's awesome to see. And I'm sure that adds a little bit of motivation to your guys saying, okay, this is tangible. I can see this with my own eyes.
No question. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's from Mark Aguirre to so many, to Wilson Chandler. We've shown so many examples of guys who've come here and done it really, really well. And up until some of the recent examples that I just talked about. And not just that, but guys that have been players here and have went on to really successful lives in business and in the community. And that's been a really fun thing to talk to our guys about. So we're going to try to tap into that great resource of former players who've achieved really exciting things and successful things in their life and have them back as much as we can.
No doubt with that success also comes losing. So how do you kind of restore that motivation in your players when there is a season of losing?
It's probably the biggest challenge is changing the way that this program is viewed. As I've mentioned, throughout our time in the Big East, I believe the average Big East wins has been right around 3.5, whether that's a 16 or an 18 or 20 league schedule. So you're looking at some years of real struggle in what's arguably the best conference in college basketball, or one of them. So I think it really is about the work. Let me check. It's first of all about the people and the kind of people that we bring into our organization and our program. And I think if we can align ourselves with the right kind of people, players, as well as coaching staff, then that perception will eventually fade. But the challenge is in bringing the right kind of people. And I'm excited about this first group that we have that can kind of set the table for future teams.
The New York Times did an article about you becoming the head coach here. Did you read that? How does it affect you?
I had
that
no
kind
idea.
of pressure. Oh, well, we broke some news here on the show.
All right.
We'll have to show him after this.
Yes, I had no idea. I really didn't. It's amazing, in case you know this better than I do, is I think you get to a point to where when you've been in these roles, there's so much written, some of it good, some of it not good, and you tend to just, what I really want to be about is promoting our program and our players as much as I can. I do think there's probably some intrigue on me coming here and why this is the fit that I believe it can be. But more than anything, I'm just excited about promoting this really fun group of players we have and our program here as we move forward.
You've done some meet and greets as well with the student body. How has that been?
Well, it's been great. Like, it really has. It's been a lot of fun. I'd like to say, hey, I'm super well versed before I got here in DePaul basketball. I have a pretty good understanding. I grew up in watching college basketball in the NBA in the 80s. was a pretty good era during, well before your time, but a pretty good era in basketball in general, both NBA and college. So I've got a great feel. And then, I competed against him for 3 years when I was the head coach. So I had a feel. I never did do it in Wintrust, which I think has been a great change to bring our program to Wintrust. But it's been great learning about, why people love DePaul as a university, why they care about it, why they came, and our athletes, what was their experience being here and what they appreciated about their experience.
There's also, Coach, a large part of the DePaul student body that's enrolled in the arts and those types of programs. So stereotypically, they might not be into basketball or wanting to attend a game at Wintrust. What would you say to them to entice them and say, hey, this can be a good year for the entire student body, even if you're not a huge basketball fan?
See, that's something I didn't know until really the last couple months, there is a huge portion of student body here that is into arts and film and a lot of other things. So, I think if we provide a group that is great in the community, great in the DePaul community, that is engaging, that is fun, if we can play a style and a brand of basketball that's competitive and enjoyable to watch, I believe that will increase and elevate the attendance. And we're going to do everything we can, Casey, to get out and to meet those students, spend time with them, and to explain to them why we think it's a great idea for them to maybe stop studying for a moment. Sorry, professors, but to take a study break and come and spend some time watching really good basketball at Wintrust. And we're going to try to get out and do that as much as possible.
It's part of the experience when you're in college. I love that. How have you and your family been adjusting to the neighborhood, the city of Chicago, from Columbus? Obviously, Columbus is a big city too, but it's been a change. So how have you enjoyed the city life here?
Well, as we were talking earlier, you spent some time in Columbus. Columbus, great city. Indianapolis, great city. My first college head coaching job was in Boiling Springs, North Carolina. Had one stoplight in the whole town. So it's a little different.
Big change.
Big change from where we're at now. But it was, it's been really good. My family, my wife and daughter and I have settled into Lincoln Park. And I believe it was the Sun-Times that put an article about our house in the paper and our address. So we appreciate that.
Yeah.
It was kind of them.
Right. Yikes.
But we've really enjoyed being in this community, and just it's one of the things I didn't understand was where DePaul was located, and it's in the campus in Lincoln Park is in a terrific area. I mean, there's so much to do around here, and I didn't know that. It's got a great neighborhood feel. My vision of it was, hey, it's somewhere in the city, maybe isolated. It's really right in a neighborhood.
I mean, you're with all the bars, restaurants, the Starbucks, there's trees-lined streets, so it really is immersed in the neighborhood here.
It really is, and I think that adds a real nice touch to the environment, a really nice touch. And I would just, I'm going to promote that because I just believe it's different than maybe what the perception is. But we've really enjoyed that. We've enjoyed this great summer Chicago weather. One of our players asked us before we left for the summer, Coach, are we going to get winter jackets when we got back? We said, yes, you're going to get winter coats from your knees to all the way up
you
here.
Need the parka.
But we've really enjoyed the weather and had a great experience so far.
That's great. And your daughter, Nora, who you mentioned, what is she into? What does she like to do?
Well, she loves her friends. She's a freshman in high school, and all of us can remember that age, going to a new school. It's a little scary.
Yeah.
So we're working through that together, but she's been really excited about the school she's going to attend, and we're excited for her. We've heard great things about the school. We're excited about her spending time there, and she's enjoyed this new city. But, you leave your friends. 7 years is a long time to be at one place. She built great friendships, but we're really excited about this next step in her 4-year high school
That's great.
journey.
Did she go to the Bears game as well?
She did, yeah. She went to the Bears game, and she wanted a Caleb Williams jersey as well. We looked for that and a sweatshirt for I said, Dad's getting a Walter Payton jersey.
That's right. You got to go with the classic because these days you end up having to put tape over the back of the name.
Yeah.
You never know who you can rely on.
I know. There is a mainstay there that was one of the, maybe if not the greatest running back of all time. So,
Right.
Yeah, that was fun. Like I said, we had a great time as a family.
What is your favorite sport to watch or play other than basketball?
You know what? I love a lot of different sports. How about women's basketball right now and the surge that's
Unreal.
going on in both the WNBA and we had an up close view being in the Big Ten with Caitlin Clark. She sold out every away arena.
Yeah.
It was a phenomenal just thing. It just it was unbelievable, and she continues to do that. I think she just brings a real joy in how she plays, similar to Steph Curry. But that's been a fun sport to watch as well, and see how that's emerged. I love college football. I also love golf. I don't play it a whole lot. I like watching it. Tennis.
I think we all wish we played more golf. I know I do.
Yeah, yes. I wish I played more. I know there's great courses here, around here. But 4.5 hour commitments, probably too much for me right now as a head
right now.
coach.
I was going to ask you that. When you leave work after a long day, are you able to turn it off? How do you sort of unwind?
I've been asked that so many times, Casey, and it's a really important question because coaches need that. They need a way to unwind. I love to exercise. For me, if I don't exercise first thing in the morning, something feels off for me. I need it right now as much as my physical and as much as my mental health, as much as my physical health. So that's important to me. I love being out in nature as much as I can. I love walks. I do enjoy reading. And then I really enjoy friend and family time. So spending time with friends and family is something that, I take a lot of just enjoyment in.
What are you reading right now? Anything good?
You know what? Yeah.
Are you a fiction guy, nonfiction?
I think I'm going to dive in. My next book's probably going to be the Aaron Rodgers book that just came out, I believe, today. It's kind of on his life. And then I've been reading a book by a guy named Amen, Dr. Amen, about brain health. That's a little, maybe a little, I don't know, too academic for some people, but I've enjoyed reading it.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so no like mysteries, thrillers right now. You're focused on either sports or betterment or...
Yeah, pretty much right now. Yeah.
I love it.
That's usually
good.
my two avenues I go down.
I love
it's
that.
usually either sports or biographies,
Sure.
Or something on mental or physical
That's
health.
great. Who or what has been your biggest influence in the game?
Oh, good question. I think my college coach was someone who I always looked at as a mentor. His name was Paul Patterson, and he did it as well as anybody I've ever seen do it, and he kind of trained me. He was a Hall of Fame small college coach. And then I think, I've been fortunate to have friends that I really admire and respect and along the way, some of which were in the Big East or in the Big East. Ed Cooley's a friend. Jay Wright was somebody that I was a guy who I really listened to and learned from. Tom Izzo was a guy I became friends with, spending time in the Big Ten. John Gross, Brad Stevens, and I became close. Just friends, and he was really gracious with me and brought me to Boston towards their playoff run, which was a lot of fun. Buzz Williams at Texas A&M. Those are all guys that I got a lot of respect for.
Yeah.
And spend time talking to.
The coaching, tree, the fraternity of it, really important, I think.
Yeah, and guys that I've been able to kind of learn from as much as anything.
Sure.
And then, former assistants. I've got some former assistants who are head coaches now. Ryan Pedens at Illinois State. I'm really proud of him and what he's doing. And so that makes this job, Takeo Siddle, that makes this job fun, talking to those guys.
What Big East conference matchup? I know the non-conference is first, and you're a one game at a time kind of guy. But
right.
what conference matchup are you most excited about?
Well, you pretty much need to say Marquette here, right? I mean, I think
that's fair.
I'm learning that that one seems to be a matchup that people care a lot about. I think they care about every Big East matchup, but that seems to be one they care a lot about. And that's one that I think we'll always look to and point to. The Big East it's such a special conference. And now that UConn is elevated and done, I think, something that we'll look back in 20 years and say, I can't believe what was done in this 2-year span by UConn. It's phenomenal.
Yeah,
Their
Dan Hurley has
dominance.
been exciting to watch, Coach. Yeah.
So I'm looking. We'll look forward to competing. I've never competed against them. Listen, it'll be mixed feelings going back to Hinkle for sure at Butler, but those Marquette. Hopefully, we can have some really fun battles here moving forward because I know it's important to our fan base.
Speaking of fun, you got to throw out the first pitch at Wrigley Field.
I did.
We saw the video on
Slider.
Instagram. Yeah, it was a nice pitch.
Yeah, thank you.
What was more exciting for you? Was it that moment at Wrigley? Was it the Bears preseason game? You've gotten to enjoy some other sports around the city.
I loved throwing out the first pitch. Cubs. I went to both Cubs and White Sox.
Cool.
I was able to go watch somebody throw out the first pitch at the White Sox game, one of our board members, which was fun. And then, when the Cubs, when I heard that they invited me to throw out the first pitch, I did not want to bounce it. And I nearly wore my arm out.
You got to go to the backyard right now.
Oh, yeah, I did. I nearly wore my arm out, leading up to that. I did. I worked out in the morning on some pitching. I did a little bit leading up to it, but then I had to take an Uber. I was not going to bounce it, and I was going to pitch from the rubber. And I said, hey, when I can't do that anymore, I'm going to stop throwing out first pitches. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun being out there.
That's great.
And that's such an iconic.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome. It was a warm welcome. Were you nervous at all? I'd be nervous.
I wasn't really.
That's good.
I had done it a couple times, and maybe just a little bit, but it was more fun than anything.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, I got one quick game for you if you're ready for it, if you're
Okay.
up for it, and you have time. It's kind of a quick thinking game.
All right.
We want our guests to sort of close your eyes if you want, and we're going to imagine a scenario and lead you through different decisions.
Okay.
All right?
Uh-oh.
Here we go.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so imagine you're taking a long walk through glorious Lincoln Park, which we know
Okay.
you now love,
Yes.
on a Sunday afternoon. Are you wearing headphones?
Yes.
What are you listening to?
I'm listening to either a podcast or some combination of country/Taylor Swift.
I love it. We know you're a Swiftie now.
I
Is that
am.
Nora's doing?
That's all Nora's influence. Yeah, that's all
Okay.
Nora's influence.
You suddenly get a call while you're on this walk. The women's basketball team has a game against Loyola, and all of a sudden, Dibs got the flu. He's sick. They ask you to step into the suit. Are you taking on that challenge?
Oh, man. Oh, if no one else will take on the challenge, because we can't have an athletic event without Dibs, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's like a necessity. So I will throw on the Dibs suit, and I'll do my part.
All
yeah,
right.
I'll do my part.
Taking
yeah.
one for the team. I love
Yeah,
it. That's
yeah.
dedication.
Yeah.
So now you're at the basketball game in the suit, imagining yourself in this moment. What is your go-to stadium arena food?
Ooh, I love a nice. Do we have pretzels? I love a nice pretzel, soft.
Good
pretzel.
soft pretzel. Are you salted? No salt?
Salt.
Okay.
With maybe a little bit of mustard. Okay.
All right. Are you the type of fan, whether you're in the Dibs suit or not, to be at the front cheering and yelling, or are you the type of guy who kind of stands in the back, observes, lay
I'm
low?
I love part of the coach in me. I love observing the scene, the players, the strategy, all that goes into it. That would be that would
Okay.
be what I would do. But if in this costume, I'm probably not going to be able to do that, right?
No, you're going to be sweating.
Okay. All right.
You look under your seat now, and you've got a Willy Wonka-style golden ticket to fly anywhere in the world for a week. Where are you going, Coach?
Maui.
Ooh, I love Maui, too.
Yeah, I'm going
I
to
have
Maui.
been.
The combination of the ocean and mountains. Yeah,
Beautiful.
I'm going to Maui.
Okay.
Maui or Greece.
Okay, so here's a detour now.
Okay.
While on the plane, you crash safely onto an island run by the Monstars, the bad guys from the Space Jam movie, if you remember that.
Okay.
And the only way to get off this island, Coach, is to assemble your dream team of 5 basketball players from any time and try to beat these monsters, who are you calling into your starting 5?
Oh, wow. Magic and Bird, because that's who I grew up with. And those guys represent, NBA excellence to me. Jordan, LeBron, and that's actually fits perfectly. That team fits perfectly. And then at the 5, I'm going to go with Wilt.
Love it. That's a great team.
Yeah,
those are all legends already.
Yeah.
You beat the Monstars with that group. Can't blame you there. And you finally get to Maui. And the airline feels so bad they're going to give you 10,000 free miles, which honestly doesn't get you very far these days. Are you trusting them and using this airline again?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm going to see what my track record is with that airline. As a coach, you fly. So I've got which airlines I like, which ones I don't. That won't be public on this podcast. So if I trust the airline, I'm going to keep flying with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love it.
Everybody's entitled to one mistake.
And now that you're back in Chicago after a great trip in Maui or Greece, you're safe with your family. You're out of the dib suit, by the way.
Thank
Got
you.
to finally take that off.
Whew.
What is the first meal that you'd want to have when you're back?
I can't wait to dive into a lot of the restaurants here, but I've really enjoyed Pequod's Pizza.
Yum. Great choice. Maybe
yeah.
we should all go for Pequod's after the
That sounds good.
Coach, thanks
There'll
for
be a
playing
line.
along.
I'm sure there'll
yes,
be a
there
line.
will. You have to wait for sure, but it's delicious. Thank you so much for being a part of our podcast here today. It was great to talk to you, and we wish you all the best this season.
Yeah, thanks, Casey. And thanks for doing this. Appreciate it.
All right. We'll see you next time on the Blue Demon Room podcast.